Very nice. Good morning, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us on yet a fantastic episode on the African Integrative Agricultural Network podcast. And today I have a very special guest that will be us on a very unique and peculiar journey. Uh, our conversation today is centered around sustainable vegetable farming, strategies for urban and large scale success. And Mr. Precious is our guest today. I will definitely read out his bio, and he's going to be teaching us a lot about urban farming, particularly for vegetables. I feel like that's something that every single person can start out with, regardless of where you are, whether you are in rural space or the urban space. Gardening, something to just also help with the food security situations that we currently face in Nigeria, particularly. So I'll read out Mr. Precious's bio for us so you get a better understanding of who we have here today. Mr. Precious is Mr. Precious
Just stick with Mr. Precious so that you
is a
don't
husband
just stick with
consultant.
Mr. Precious.
As a farmer, he has almost a decade of experience growing and cultivating built a thriving agricultural business around vegetable production. He's currently the founder and CEO of Genuine Foods, a subsidiary of Genuine Wasteland Service Limited, which specializes in the cultivation of vegetable and grains through mechanized precision farming. Genuine Farm currently grows and following crops and commercial scale, cucumber, watermelon, cabbage, garden egg, pepper, and carrot. As a teacher, Precious is the principal instructor at Genu Farms for Profit Academy, which is the business of agriculture, where he has trained over 100 farmers, helping them gain clarity enough to set up their own farming practices. He is also the principal consultant for Genu Farms. He offers consultation and farm setup for individuals, organizations who desire to set up functional, profitable farms. He is currently the primary consultant to RCCG Rivers Province 5 Farm Project in Port Harcourt area. He's currently providing consultation for many Mr. Precious. Mr. Precious, I'm super, super excited to have you here today with me on this episode. Uh, when I reached out to you, I met Mr. Precious late last year in one of the programs hosted by Ideation Hub Africa. When I to him, he was very gracious and kind to oblige me to come on here and had said, okay, I would like you to talk about something different. He was very specific. He said, no, I deal basically with vegetables. And I think that that's one thing that is possibly really easy for people to sort of grow in their houses, have a small gardening and things like that. He will just be teaching us a lot around how you can even grow vegetables around sack bags and even open beds. So my very first question to Mr. Precious today it's centered around his story, which is his journey so far in agriculture, how he began his journey, what inspired him to be a vegetable farmer. You could have been anything else in agriculture, but why did you choose vegetable farming? So just share a bit of your journey with us and what inspired you to choose vegetable farming.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. My name is Mr. Okidika Precious Ezeboji. I know that last one is always difficult for people to pronounce, but is my tribal name, and I'm very proud of it. Okay. How you started is before I went for NYSC, I was a teacher, and I enjoyed teaching a lot. So, but when I went for NYSC, the place I went to in Plateau State was a farming community, and I got to see firsthand what farmers could do, what they can do with farming, what people how intense farming was over there. And I was like, why can't we do these things here in the south? Because I'm from River State myself. Why can't we do this thing over here? So
Mm.
I came back and I was like, I can do this. it's something I can do, and I chose to go into vegetable farming because I'm a business person. I always think about things from the business perspective. So I felt like vegetable farming, most of the vegetables do are grown between 4 to 6 months max, and the ROI, the turnover on vegetables were my major attractions, and like, okay, something we can do in the short term and just turn over as much as possible within the year. So as I'm growing in the business, I'm realizing that we can do a whole lot more with vegetables, and one of my futuristic goal is to have a veggie market, yeah, for fresh vegetables, and to train people around Port Harcourt that will be able to like have competent people who do different type of vegetables, and then we have that central place where everybody who has gone through our training and is farming can just come and sell. That's the long term goal. But for now, we do our own farm, and then we train people. I Last year I didn't do a lot of training, but this year one of my major goals is to train a whole lot more people, and I'm currently working on partnerships with some organizations to see how we'll get people from the local government level to a private sector and partner even with my church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Rivers Province 5. I'm talking with our regional youth pastor to see how we can get youth into agriculture and let them just learn about data and understand the business of it. What I teach most of the time is not just the skill of it, because a lot of people teach the skill, how to plant tomatoes, how to plant pepper, how to plant this and how to plant that. It's fine, but understanding the business of that thing is uh, what makes it enjoyable to do. When you understand this business, how it works, what are the pitfalls, what areas can I waste my money, what areas can I maximize my investment so I can get the maximum return on investment for my time and for my energy. So that's what I teach. So when people come to my training, I focus on teaching them um, the things that will make them think like businessmen within the agri sector, not just farmers. Like, yes, you are a farmer, you have the skill of farming, but how do you convert that skill into a profitable business? That's the major thing I do, apart from my own actual running my own actual farm. I think you're muted.
Fantastic. It's good to know that your passion stemmed from your NYC days, and it's also interesting to know that you served in Plateau. I also served in Plateau, Bocos precisely, and I had seen them do a lot of
Oh, I served
vegetables,
in
especially towards
Shandan
like
local
the
government.
riverside. Oh, Shandam, there were people that had a lot of yams, I guess. They
Yeah,
have
they
a
have a
lot of
lot of
yams there.
they were a farming community. They have a lot of, in fact, at some points in my experience over there, some days you go to school and even the principal is not in school. He has gone to farm. The students are farmers, teachers are farmers, the principal is a farmer, everybody is a farmer. So that influenced my experience. I just saw what people can do, we can build full communities around farming. We can do a whole lot around farming, which is something we are not
Hmm.
maximizing over here. So is and then one of the things I felt like, okay, these things that are
Yeah.
grown, the watermelons, the cucumbers, the cabbages, those things grown over there, this part of the country is the primary market. Like most of them they use trucks to come and get them, and then they bring them down south. So why don't we grow it over here? Like, so it will be like economically competitive. If you're able to do that over here, is you are competitive because you're not paying that exorbitant transport. Your Most of the money remains with you because and you have people have direct, like this, most of the times they have to harvest these vegetables pre like before they are ripened, before they are due, so that by the time they transport them, they spend 1 week, 2 weeks on the way before they get here. So, but if you are, for instance, doing tomatoes in Port Harcourt and you're selling in Port Harcourt, it means that you can get them to be better ripened before they give the you don't have to depend on chemicals for anything. You have to be you can do natural and you can sell to the primary consumers directly. So these are the things I thought about and like, okay, it's something is a business that the primary market is here. The our soil structure, the soil structure for here is very good for vegetables. We have a lot of loamy soil over here, very good for vegetables. And even when we have rain, like almost all year round, you understand. Apart from now that the climate changes is affecting things, so we get rain for at least 6 to 9 months within the year, which is something that we don't experience over there in the north. So we have all the advantage.
Yeah.
So why aren't we making use of it? So one of the things I'm trying to drive is a situation where young people in our local communities, especially in south of Nigeria, we're able to look at farming as a viable option. Do you
Mm.
understand? Look at farming as a viable option. Like, how do we make farming attractive? Which is why I am keen on driving a a modernized system of farming, because like young people are more technologically inclined. They want to see technology within the space where they want to work. Like, you imagine going to a workspace and the whole space is clean, very neat, everything is well arranged. You know, like there's a process to it. It makes you feel like you want to belong here. But if you come and you step into a space and everything is just done anyhow, you don't want to be there. So a lot of times we do farming over here in our local communities. I've been to my own village, I've been to the villages around, cassava farming, vegetable farming, and it's done without information, no proper information. It's just like as if we did it. This is how our parents did it. This is how we continue to do it. There's no improvement, no learning process, and it makes the whole thing. So when you not tell, and a young person sees their parents has been a farmer for a lot of years and has been poor, and you're not saying, "Hey, come and be a farmer," be like, I can't do that." But when you show them that there are ways you can improve your farming, and then there are ways you can approach it as a business, and then that job you're looking for, that job you're going to do, your farming can pay you more than that, like a whole lot more than that in that same period of time. So it's understanding the processes. Like I said, having a clear process, getting a clear process as to what do I want to do, like just like you mentioned, um niching down to the basic thing of what you want to do, just doing one thing. And as I go further, I'm planning to niche down a whole lot more. Like now I do a lot of vegetables, I'm planning to niche down a whole lot more and say like, okay, let me do, instead of doing 10, let me do 2, 3, 4, 5, and just have a supply of them all year round. That's the area I'm going to now. So that you're hyper focused on doing exactly one thing. So if we have people, 4, 5 persons who are doing different things and doing them well, before in the long run, you see that we have continuous supply of these produces within our local community without having to go too far to get it. So that's just it.
Fantastic. I like the fact that you're also about youth empowerment because I feel like where we are at in Nigeria as a people, there has to be a level of reorientation of the youth and an attitudinal change towards agriculture. Certain persons still have the mindset that it's still, hoes and cutlass and those kinds of things around agriculture. And so that's part of why I do what I do with African Integrated Agricultural Network, now with helping people understand that there's much more to agriculture. As a youth or as an individual, agriculture is also a viable and profitable part, which is something that you would also speak to as we go along in this conversation. What are some of the crops that you specialize in? I know I'd read that in your bio, but more importantly, is why exactly did you choose vegetable? You could have or yams, but why did you choose vegetable? What influenced that?
Like first at the beginning, one of the things that influenced my choice of going into vegetable, I'm a business person and I like to think in terms of business. So I thought I think in my head, I don't have the patience for a crop like yam that takes 9 months, 6 to 9 months, 9 months basically and above, or that does you have to wait for a very long time. understand? For vegetables, something like a lettuce takes 60 days. 60 days is 2 months. So it means if I plant today, the next 2 months I'm ready to get my harvest, and I can structure the whole. I can just based on lettuce and structure the whole thing so that I have a dedicated time in such that I have a dedicated time, and every month I just keep adding. I know that at the end of structure it in a way that every month I just keep getting returns on that. So it's something I can do. Is like in pay salary because it comes regularly rather than when you cascade it, you have to wait for a long time before the harvest and all that. So that's one of the major reasons. And also because they are the poverty is high. It's a high, it's very high. You have a lot, and you can keep repeating it. You can do it throughout them. You can farm most of them throughout the year. They are very seasonal, so you can farm throughout the year. So that's one of the reasons. So that's I think that the economic is just basically the economic reason of quick turnover, quick ROI. That's just it.
So from what you've shared now is anybody looking for possibly an agricultural produce that would relatively get more money quicker should consider vegetable farming. And also there's also like a high demand all year round. There's always demand for these things. There's just particular time of the year that people demand for these things, but all year round always a demand for it. So on your journey, because
All year round.
when you're ready to buy
There's
it,
always
talk
a,
about
there's always a demand.
yeah, fantastic. So you've been in this agribusiness space for like over a decade, right? And there's no way that you've come this far, you've not encountered challenges. So what are some of like the biggest challenges that you face and how do you overcome it? For anybody that is planning to go into vegetable farming, they can take it as an advice, like, oh, what are the biggest challenges you faced thus far and how were you able to just overcome those challenges?
Okay, for me, one of the biggest challenge I faced was, as like every young person, like I can do it all by myself. Having that mindset that yes, it's a good thing. It can be a good thing to have the mindset that like I can do all things, yeah. But then not seeking out the right knowledge was one of the biggest challenge I had. And then not seeking out the right partnership and just wanting to work things out by myself. And now that I've grown in it, I'm realizing that's one of the reasons why I get training. And usually host a free training class. I used to do it like once a year before, but for this year I'm trying to do it like every other month, once every 2 months, because I feel like there's a need for people to be trained and get the proper knowledge before they venture into. Because a lot of times people feel like, is it not cucumber? Is it not garden egg? I can just plant. We don't talk about management of the crop. We don't talk about timing of when to plant for you to get the most return on investment. You don't talk about your the cost of it. How much is it going to cost you? What do you want to achieve with it? There's a lot of questions around it that if you're a novice, you just put in the money and it will just go to waste because you realize that you're not achieving your aim, because first of all your aim is not even clear in the first place. So for as I have grown now, I'm beginning to see, okay, partnership works. I joined a lot of farmers group. That is why you saw me on that ideation hub, learning from other sources, knowing what is obtainable within the industry, trying to know, understanding that I can't do it all by myself, and then be realizing that even in the terms of the execution of the projects, like I'm coming to a space where I don't depend on myself to do the physical work. I'm always looking at ways to save money. But now, as I'm growing, I'm looking at ways to save time and to save energy. What's the easiest way to do this thing? Do this thing as quickly as possible in the best possible way. So my focus has shifted from how to save money to how to save time and energy. So at the beginning, for me, one of the major challenges I had was that too much dependent on my own self. But now I'm learning to depend on others. And then the next thing also was finances. Okay. And I was always thinking, how do I at the beginning I programmed my farm in a way that use the farm to raise money for the farm, but sometimes it doesn't always work because when you run into problems, you are the one that have to bail yourself out. So you, because you want to enjoy all the benefits of the return on investment, you understand. So you miss out on essential, or when you also have problems, you're the only person also carrying the challenge of that business. So what I have done now in this phase, we have moved beyond that into a space where we have shared responsibility. So last year we ran a project which we called the corporate Juno Cooperative. We got people to come together together, and we did that last year. I saw the pros and cons of that. So, but we now this year we are upgrading to a new kind of it's a 2-year project that should be run from 2025 to 2027. So because we look at it, we need the capital to remain within the business for a longer period of time, so that we can do more with the money, while we do a payout of periodical payout. Keep the money. We are working around these challenges as we face them. Okay, we have financial challenges, we have shortcomings in our finances. We want to provide irrigation, we want to provide machinery, so that, like I said, we need to do work fast. We need to do work fast as soon as possible. We don't need to be thinking, where do we get the funds for this? So that is so, and we don't have all the resources to do that, all the financial resources to do that. So we are aggregating people. We are currently on it right now. We're aggregating people who have interest in farming, but maybe they don't have the time. They are business people who do not have the time for to farm, and they want to still invest in agriculture and all that. So the program seeks to just bring them together, aggregate the funds, and we use our expertise to still work out. So the whole idea is the problems, like they say in our local parlance, problem no dey finish, wahala no dey finish. Ehen. So you just have to know, like, there will be specific problems that will arise. Like even when we do the same crops, you want to do cucumbers on the same piece of land, every time you do it, you encounter a different set of problems. Maybe one time there will be too much insects and pests, and then you have done all you know about insects and pests, and they are not working. So you have to go and look for a solution. That is where you now, the collaboration now comes in. You now have to ask questions like, uh, my people have done all these things, I've done this, I've done that, it's not working. I mean, you'll be surprised. Sometimes the solution is just 500 naira away. You just something you can buy for 500 naira, you use, and that thing is solved. So collaboration, uh, collab- collaboration. That is the only thing I can say. Like there'll be a lot of problems that you will face, but just start from the beginning to collaborate. Collaborate with mentors, people who have been there. Like reach out to them. I've had people who I give out free advice to. They don't have to pay me. Like especially young people, you be like, okay, I want to go into farming. This is my check. I reach out. I tell you, this is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. And then you collaborate with people who have been there. If you're a newbie, you collaborate with people who are like you, because uh, you cannot always go to those high end uh, agronomists and all that all the time, because they are expensive to get their services. So, but you can easily get people who you grow together. Like I have somebody who is in Aba, who is in Aba. We he did tomatoes. He has done tomatoes in the past, and I have not done tomatoes like large scale in the past. You understand? So I want to go into that this year. I want to do tomatoes this year. So I want to do tomatoes this year. So I had to reach out to him and ask some pertinent questions. Ask him, so
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Your. I was thinking maybe it's my network. I think
It was the network.
your
Yeah, but
network
you can.
was
Yeah, network.
okay. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that collaboration doesn't matter what you want to face. Just learn to collaborate, and you will get answers to your questions when it comes to farming. Join social media groups that has farmers. If you are social media groups, like you have pepper farming, bell pepper farming, habanero pepper farming, they have their own groups. Just search for them on Facebook, especially. If you see those groups and you're able to utilize, they share a lot of information on those groups. You can see opportunities on those groups. You can see opportunities on those groups to learn. You see free trainings. If you have paid trainings, pay for them. Just give yourself opportunity to learn. That's just it. That's what I would advise. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, letting us know that there's an important thing about acquiring knowledge, about collaboration, being part of the right community also helps. Thank you for sharing that. So typically, you use sacks and you raise bed for your urban farming process. Can you share more about this and why do you consider that kind of process important in today's world?
Okay. My when I started out, I was basically doing open field. I got a lot of demand from people who want to just grow in their houses, and then some people tell me that we already have cement in our compound is already cemented. We already have we don't have such a large
Interlocking
space.
tile.
What do we do? So I began to do some research, and you can still grow
Yeah.
in beds, in raised beds, and in sacks. So I think one of the trainings I did last year or last 2 years was the soilless sack farm, where we grew without soil, because like we have like like they say necessity is the mother of invention. So people do not. Some people live in urban cities where they don't have access to soil. Like most of the area, the compounds, most of the houses, most of the areas have been tarred and locked up. You can't get. It's very difficult to get access to soil. So what do you do? So one of the trainings we did was on soilless sack farming, and we did that. I think after that training, I set up a farm for for one of my clients, and we did without soil. Just we used sawdust, and chicken manure and some other materials like that, and we created that farm. It was one of the most beautiful farm I've ever seen. Like the bell peppers were so beautiful. The habanero pepper, they kept harvesting for a long time. The same with the lettuce and all that. It was so beautiful. So like what we do with urban farming, one of the reasons why I'm turning my attention to urban farming and teaching urban farming is we don't want to give any segment of the population on on attended to. Like people within the urban cities there's a need to farm now, especially with the economic situation of the country. With the economic situation of the country, people within the urban cities need to farm, need to be able to get their own food ready at any point in time. So how do we do this? How do we achieve this? It's through urban farming. Urban farming is basically using doing farm around urban cities, doing it can vary. There is vertical farming where you instead of growing on the ground, you grow vertically, like on the walls and all that. If you go to countries like Tokyo, Japan, and China, and even in America, they are beginning to grow food on the rooftops. On the rooftops, you understand? So we have to, as
Yes.
every day, more and more farmlands is being taken over by commercial building, and the real estate guys are not helping the matter. Some of them buy lands and lock up the lands, and then Nowadays they're advertising for farm villages that they themselves do not engage in farming. They just take up this space and they lock it up, and they're no longer available to farmers. So what will such person do? And then you think about it, the lands that are available for farming now, like in Port Harcourt where I am, you have to drive up to like between 1 hour to 2 hours to get to them. So and then that's not ideal for somebody who is starting out as a farmer. So you want to be able to do your farm within your compound, within your house. You just want to uh, you want to be able to do that. So that is where the urban farming comes in. And what we are doing as a brand now is that we are looking at offering this year. We want to offer one of the things we want to do this year is to offer for those people who want to do urban farming commercially. You understand? Who want to do urban farming commercially? We are looking at some putting up some package for them from anytime from April. We should have finished the modalities for that and we're able to roll out the program. So what we want to do is, if you have a plot of land somewhere you're not using, you have two plots of land or even half plots, no matter doesn't matter the space, we can come and set up a soilless farm for you on that space, and you can be able to use that space instead of just following this, even this space to follow. You can set it up, and we are looking at is a semi-automated farm where you plug in and even if you don't have to visit there every day. You just basically look at crops that do not need all the attention, um, within the attention but not all the attention. So those are the things we have in the pipeline, so that people who want to practice urban farming on not on a commercial scale, no, maybe not large scale now, but just commercially. You want to be able to harvest and sell every once in a while. We'll be able to roll that out in April. So urban farming is important, especially to combat urbanization, to be able to produce food in the face of urbanization. And the truth of the matter is, more and more people, more and more cities, more and more local environments are being taken over by cities. Like the places where you could farm easily before, like where I live, I used to be able to have farms around where I live, but now a lot of buildings have been erected. Most of the farms have gone and are replaced by residential and even commercial buildings. So that is where urban farming comes in. Urban farming is basically taking up using those small spaces around the houses, around offices, to create farms without destroying any of those infrastructure. Uh, I think that's just it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. I know that you're giving a bit insights into some of your current projects that you're already working. So among the projects that you've done over the years, what are like the lessons you've learned thus far with all the projects that you've over the years? Just give you a bit of specifics when it comes to. I know that you grow cucumber. I know that you grow cabbage. I know that you grow tomato. For those various projects, some of the lessons you've learned along the way.
Okay, I think one of the basic lessons I've learned is anything is possible. That's the more one thing. Like as a farmer, anything is possible, and you need to think outside the box. You need to be start thinking like a farmer is innovative. Like when we were growing up, we used to think that farming is for people who didn't do well in school and all that. But you realize that if you're not intelligent, you can't farm, because like I said, there will be so many challenges on the way. You have to think outside the box on how to overcome these challenges. You have to be able to be innovate. Like one of the things I pursue on my farm is to look at how do I use what I have to solve the problems that I'm facing. So like for okay, let me go down to the specific crops. Like for cucumbers, one of the lessons I've learned with cucumbers is cucumbers are labor intensive in terms of the care. You need to care for them a whole lot. Like once you put, if you're not chanced Don't plant the cucumber. Just keep it, because once you put it on the ground, it grows rapidly. It takes 6 weeks to harvest, and in that 6 weeks, it's any slight thing that you do wrongly can affect the whole process and make you lose money. So you have to be always on ground with cucumbers to make sure that everything is going well. You have to weed when it's time to weed. You have to put the right fertilizers. You have to use the right materials at all time. So cucumbers are very labor intensive, and they demand a lot of attention. If cucumber is a woman, it would have been it basically like it's an attention seeking crop. Without the attention, it doesn't work. And then for something things for pepper, for instance, a pepper doesn't require as much attention as cucumber. You can visit a pepper farm once in a week. That's it suffices. Once a week suffices. Once in 2 weeks, if you're sure what you're doing, that suffices. But just know they just be able to give them what they need when they need. And pepper is more resilient. Of course, pepper is a perennial crop. Cucumber is an annual crop, so you don't expect them to have the same kind of characteristics. So you have to, when you're farming vegetables, when you want to go into vegetables, look at your own lifestyle, your own wo- your own lifestyle. Look at your own um your time. How much time do you have? How much resources do you have? And then you choose one that aligns with that. Because if you don't do that, you might have so much money to input on the farm, and you don't have time to monitor the crop that as it requires. That would be a challenge. So, but and then so there are some other crops that require a lot of money, but you don't have to spend so much time. So you have to know which one do you have. Do you have money or do you have time? So that you can know which of the crops will be better for you to cultivate. So the lessons I've learned are many. Like I said earlier, don't depend on yourself. Seek out knowledge. Um, you can't know it all. And they will always surprise you. Like, and one of the biggest lessons I've learned, or one of the things that drive me most of the time with these crops is it feels like a miracle all the time. If you have never experienced miracle before, just start farming vegetables, and then you'll be surprised, you'll be shocked. You plant today and you walk away in 2 weeks time. You're coming back and you're amazed. It feels like a miracle every time I think about it. So these are just the basic things.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Who would have thought that there are crops that are attention seeking and attention demanding, like you mentioned for cucumber? And I like how you just sort of talked about it, that as much as the person has, the money to invest, they also need to consider their lifestyle, especially for all things. So you don't just want to put your money into something that is not provide the care that it needs to be able to do well. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now that we the world that we live in right now, it's very technologically inclined. There's so much going around about technology and innovation. But as a farmer, a vegetable farmer, how has technology and innovation sort of impacted your practice as a vegetable farmer?
Okay, I think one of the most recent technology that is taking over the whole world now is AI. And I was telling my wife one of these days I will host a class for AI for farmers, just if maybe a free class, how we can use AI to advance our farming journey. So for me, I've been using a lot of AI for my planning, especially for planning of my farm in terms of making calculations, budgeting. There's a whole lot that goes into the process. If you know what you're doing, it takes a whole lot of head knowledge, a head thinking and formulation. That's where AI comes in. It helps me to not think too much, like take off the burden of thinking so much calculations and all that. So that is just AI can help you. Like I use Chat GPT a lot to for my proposals. I want to come up with proposals. Like farmers don't think about it. That's why I said we have to think outside the box. You have to think beyond what is being done now. What can I do? You understand? And then what tools can I use to achieve my goal? You have to be clear on your goal. What kind of farming do I want to do? Am I doing farming for to sustain myself, or I want to do farming as a business? There's so many questions that goes in and determine the kind of technology you want to use. And then as for the technology for the farming itself, we thank God that a lot of things are being, a lot of machines are coming up. So a lot of for the past few years, if you go to sites like gg.ng, not to advertise them now, but I think it's, if you're a farmer, you need to go know about gg.ng. It saves you a lot of stress, a lot of the materials, the technology you need for your small machines that you need, like small tilling machines that you can get for less than 500K, the machines that can help you make your work a whole lot easier, and sites like that. So when you understand the process and you're able to know what you want to achieve, and you're able to get these machines that can help you in the physical work, and then make do your, like I said from the beginning, my goal for myself is to see that I do my work without being super stressed. I don't want to come back home and I'm not able to attend to my family because I just finished a hectic day at work. If with these machines, with this, and that's one of the things that I think we should drive as farmers in this age and time. We cannot, we have to move beyond the phase of hoes and shovels and start looking at technology as the driver. I saw a video some, I think last year, of some people working on a farm somewhere in Benue, and we are using hoes it was beautiful to see their synchronized movement in achieving the tilling of the space. But I told myself, like, as long as we continue practicing those practices, we will still be a third world country in terms of how the amount of food we produce. Because what a machine can do in 1 hour, it will take 10 men that same 1 hour to do it. So we have to really invest in machinery, and we have to seek out opportunities of getting these machineries for ourselves. So technology for me is a driving force that will change the way we farm. That will change the way we farm. So for my business, I'm looking at a situation where we I bought some machines last time, and I discovered that because I had to carry them on the back, they are very heavy and they affect my back. I stopped using them. So I told myself, if it's not good for me, it shouldn't be for good for people who work with me. So we are looking at more comfortable technology that will help us achieve our goal without overwhelming us. That's just a simple truth. Without overwhelming us. So we cannot move agriculture forward without technology. And I think anybody who is teaching agriculture now, who is teaching, whether in universities, whether uh, in normal outside the university, forwards of the university, and you must be teaching a technologically driven agriculture. You must be teaching a technologically driven agriculture so that it is easy for people to practice what you are teaching. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to kill you for you to be able to make money from agriculture. That's just it.
Fantastic. I like how you said that technology helps to reduce the level of stress and treasury that comes with agricultural practice. And I also mentioned the fact that in terms of innovativeness, people can sort of leverage on, AI to sort of do the paperwork around agriculture. So in terms of farming and the business side of farming, which makes it business,
Yeah.
I think
Your
most
line
people
is
have.
breaking.
Okay, can I hear
I'm not getting what you're saying. Your line is breaking. So maybe, I don't know.
you me?
I can't
Veronica,
still
can
hear you.
you? Okay. No, hear me as well.
Oh my God.
Can you hear me?
I can actually hear you, but the line is breaking, so it is not, what you're saying is not
It's
clear.
not, okay. I think it's the network. But is it better now?
Oh my god.
I haven't said anything. Just asking if nice and like now. I haven't said anything.
Your line is still breaking.
Network then.
Okay, let's just wait it out. Just give it some time. Just wait it out. Maybe I'll just go ahead and talk on some other things.
I don't know. We're supposed to talk on vegetable being profitable. How do we approach it? Many people believe that growing vegetables doesn't mean profitable enterprise. But how do you approach it? How do you ensure
I'm
that
still not
your
getting.
vegetable?
I'm still not getting. I'm still not getting you.
Okay. Um, so I have to share the screen.
Okay, I think I've seen the question. Yeah. Okay. How, how do you approach vegetable farming as a business to ensure profitability? Yeah. So I think that's a okay. Let me explain this. You have to have a business mindset to do anything as a business. I always tell people that you can learn any skill at all, but then you have to know the business of the skill for that skill to be profitable for you, or for you to make beyond your daily subsistence pay from it. And a business is basically a platform that makes a skill that you do, or a product or a service, to be to be able to function and sell itself without necessarily having you around that. So for farming, basically, there are a lot of things. I can't cover it all on this call, and that is why I have a profitable vegetable farming course, you understand, which I do for free, you understand, but I'll do as much as I can on this right now. So this is the approach I teach people. Like, numbers are important. Let's start from numbers. For any business, you have to understand the numbers. You understand? I know a lot of times they tell us not to plan too much, not to punch calculators too much. But what if you once you've understood the skill, you know the process of, let's say, farming cucumber, you know the beginning, what do I need? The middle, what do I need? The harvest, how do I harvest? When do I harvest? Post harvest, where do I sell? Where do I market? These are the questions you need to first ask. You understand? If you understand the process, then you can now structure that as a business. You now ask yourself, how many times, I'm using cucumber for instance, how many times in a year do I want to harvest cucumbers? How much cucumbers do I want to harvest? Like, for instance, for myself, I've given myself a target of between 500 to 1,000 bags of cucumbers this year, 2025. That's my one of my goals, one of my business goals. So now the question is, I want to harvest 500 to 1,000 bags of cucumbers. What will it cost me to do that? You have to ask pertinent questions. You have to be intentional about what you want to achieve with your business, with your farming. You have to be clear on your business goal. You have to be clear on what what's the purpose of my farming. What's the purpose of your farming? If you are clear that that farming that you want to do is for your personal consumption, then you know it's not a business, and you know how much, you know that you don't have to invest so much. But if you want to make a business out of it, you have to be clear. You have to know, okay, how big do I want my business to be? What is my capital? You understand? What is my capital, and how do I raise money for that capital? If there is any excess money that are not that are beyond with my range for that capital. So you have to be clear on that. So you have to know, you have to think like a business person when it comes to trying to create a business out of your farming activities. So anybody can farm, but not everybody have has with farming business. A lot of people post and say they are, well, it's easy to do one or two farms and you're putting online that you're a business. You brand yourself as a so as Nkechi and Sons farms and this farms. But those people you're not those are not businesses. That's not what makes you a business. You can not have a business, you cannot have it, you may not have those names and all that, but you're running a successful business around that crop. So another thing I want to point out now is to niche down. Niche down. Niche down means do a specific thing. Don't be everywhere. A lot of times I've come to a lot of people that will come to me and say, why are you not doing plantain? Why are you not doing banana? Why are you not doing pineapple? Why are you not doing this? And I tell them that this is what I do. I have chosen this, and I work every day on this. I gain expertise on this. I gain clarity on this. I gain credibility on this. You cannot do everything. You cannot solve all the problems. Focus on one. If you want to say, if you say you want to focus on plantain, you have to have yourself ask yourself, who and who am I selling my plantain to? Where can I sell this plantain? Where do I meet these people that I will sell this plantain to? Those are the things you ask. If you're doing cucumber, who and who needs, don't say everybody eats cucumber. I farm cucumber, but I don't eat cucumber. I don't enjoy eating cucumber, but I farm it a lot. So it's that thing. So you cannot assume that everybody eats cucumber. Everybody needs cucumber. You have to be clear on who am I targeting? Where do I this cucumber I'm producing? Where do I want to sell it? And how much demand is in that particular market? What is my modality of getting my goods from the farm to the market? And most importantly, define your process. Every farmer has his own process. Everybody have their own way of farming a particular crop. They will tell you add this here, add this there. Just know your process, understand your process, and no, I will not say stick to it forever, but you can modify the process as time goes on. But know what works for you. Know what works. What works on a particular from for a particular farmer may not exactly work for you. Know the things that are peculiar to your own vicinity where you are. There are some diseases and there are some challenges that are very specific to very specific locations. So you have to know what is prevalent in your own area and do your pre-market research, do your research before you venture into any of these ventures. Don't just jump into it. Do a research. So I'm trying to just hit at every point of it, but I hope people are able to get one or two things from what I've said. So basically, start from the pre-market before you even till the ground. Do your research. Go to the market and ask questions. Ask questions of the market, like um, if you want to do beans, what kind of beans is moves market in my locality? Go to the market. Those market women will give you information that you need. Those are the people that will buy the primary people that will buy from you. So you ask them which one they move market here. They will tell you these are the kind that move market. These are the kind of cucumbers that move market. These are the kind of they will give you information on those things. When is the best time to? When does this thing get the most market? When is the demand most high? They will share that information with you. Those people, you have those support around you. Just ask questions before you even start, and then you seek for knowledge. So that the knowledge you are getting is so that you can perfect your process. Perfect your process. Once you perfect your process, imagine if you get it right, you're able to know that okay, this is how I do cucumber, and I just keep put it on repeat, put it on repeat, put it on repeat. Every time I do it, it comes out right. Every time I do it, it comes out right. So that will help you a lot. So understand your process, the process of anything, and know where to sell your market, because you don't want to produce like I did the lettuce 2 years ago. After farming the lettuce, it came out so beautiful, it was nice, but I didn't get the right market for it, so I had to stop doing that because I can't waste my energy like that. So you have to know what works within your local market. That's just so far. That's what I would say.
Fantastic, fantastic. Can you hear me loud and clear now?
Just type the questions. I think it's better you just type the questions because it's still breaking. Just type the questions.
Not sure what I've done to my service provider today, but I'll just put the next question.
Okay. Omo, this is a tough question. Oh. Like what I can tell you specifically is that there will be trials and temptations, plenty trials and temptations. So you have to be sure that that is what you want. But the truth of the matter is that no matter what business or what career path you're trying to follow, there will be challenges on the way. There will be challenges on the way. So you have to just like know that okay, this is where I want to be, and be sure, be very sure that this is what you want to do. Eh? Be very sure this is what you want to do. And most important, I think another important thing is you have to ask yourself, like, how do I want to approach this career? Okay, like some people work, save money, and then start, or do we want to gain knowledge, build on the knowledge, and then source for the money? So you have to be clear on which of them you want to do first. You understand? So a career in whatever field, it takes time. Like you cannot just, when you see people of accountants who are earning in the millions, you don't just they didn't start earning from the first day they joined the career. They built on it, they grew on it. So yeah, even as you're starting on that vegetable farming journey, you have to try and grow on it. You have to try and grow on it. You have to be patient with yourself and build on your knowledge every day. And there's no amount of teaching anybody can give you that will equate to your practical knowledge. So by the time you go into it and you keep building, you will be able to get more knowledge and you grow from there. So it's not something, it's not a get rich quick scheme. That's what I would say. Farming is not a get rich quick scheme. I've seen a lot of people like on the project I told you, I said earlier, project 25, 27, and then some people asking, people keep asking how much do I get in a year that I give you and I keep on as saying, okay, this is the reason why people get scammed all the time, because you want a quick return on, you just want the money to come in as soon as possible. But farming doesn't work exactly like that. Farming is something that needs a lot of patience. So if you're not patient, Omo, just it's not for you. Just go and look for another thing to do. Because you can invest so much money and not get anything in some of the instances. But when he wants to pay, he can pay you massively. So yeah, these are the simple truths that people don't say about farming. When you go online, people share their success stories. People only share their success story. Nobody shares those time when you have planted and maybe you've not made arrangement for irrigation, and then rain stops falling, and then all the investment you've done, maybe you're just a few weeks from harvest and rain stops falling. What do you do? So it's you have to be clear. You have to plan yourself properly. And if you're farming, if you want to go into farming now, one thing I would advise is please make arrangement for irrigation, even if it's just hose, make arrangement for irrigation and plan very well for you. Make an irrigation because nowadays in terms of the weather is not nice on farmers. We have like last year a lot of farmers experienced a lot of losses because um the weather was very unpredictable. You have 2 months of your crop is supposed to stay in the farm for 3 months, and you was hoping that you were able to run that 3 months, and then rain starts falling and you plant, and then just in the middle of it, it stops falling, and you're stranded. So you don't want to be experienced that any form of irrigation at all. Make sure there is an irrigation plan for your farming. Without irrigation, don't bother about it. Don't just stress yourself. You want to stress yourself. Make sure you have an irrigation plan. I still can't hear you. So just keep typing the questions. Okay. How do I handle unforeseen events like weather change or losses? If that's where the part of the planning comes in. You have to plan. Like for this year, I all the plans I have made and I'm making is around ensuring that we have irrigation on the farm, because the truth of the matter is vegetables, for instance, are most of them are 70%, 80% water. Some are even 90% water. So if something is 90% water and you're not providing water, so there is no amount of fertilizer or anything you want to do that will help that crop. So you have to provide water. So one of the major things you need to handle, and like in the ones we're doing with the greenhouses, the ones we do with even with the open field where you at least you're able to provide artificial irrigation on the farm and farm give water to just when they need it. The precision farming comes in. You're able to manage those things, those core things that form like water is farming is water. Without water, there is no farming. There is no farming. So like the major thing you want to combat is water loss on the farm. You want to combat water loss
Okay, having the network glitch. So guys, please be patient with us. At this point, I don't start if you guys can even hear more. Um, but I think you
uh Okay. So I was saying that, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear
I can
me?
speak. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So uh, so uh, what was I saying? I was talking about irrigation. So you just have to have an irrigation plan on your farm. That's just it. You have to have an irrigation plan on your farm. Without irrigation, yeah, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing that is, you cannot. There's nothing you can do. So just have an irrigation plan on your farm. That's just it.
Be my final question. Can you precious?
Just type it out, please. Type it out. Just type the
Okay.
question out.
But
Okay. Investment opportunities in large scale vegetable farming. Well, it will depend on the person. I was speaking with somebody last week, and he was talking about um how he wants to go into farming and all that. At the end of the day, it boils down to what you want. What's your goal? You have to have a predetermined goal. You understand? You have to know what you want, because people don't understand. Africans don't understand the meaning of investment. We think that investment is lending. We see lending and we call it investment. We see opportunities and we say, you're too keen on the ROI. How much am I getting back? When am I getting it back? Those are not investment. That's an investor. You are a money monger. So, and I personally, I try to avoid those kind of people in my business. Once you start talking like that, I just know that I won't be able to do business with you. So, and if you want to invest, An investor is somebody who thinks long term. As like one of my investors in my business right now, she's somebody I can call on the phone and say, I have this challenge on the farm. We're going through this challenge, and she'll be like, oh, no problem. Let's try this. Let's try this. She's mindful of the fact that it's a long term thing. So a lot of persons just want you go to okay, you start an investment program on your farm, and the first few times you pay out, and everybody is like, oh, the guy is doing well, and then you're not able to pay out the next time. Everybody goes like, let's bring call EFT on him, let's call ICPC on him. Those are because like even when you invest in share buy shares in these businesses, they don't waive it that they are profit that for showing dividends. Some they tell you that we lose this year, and they don't even explain to you the kind of losses they experience. They tell you that experience loss this year, so there will be no dividend. But most of the people think that as an investor, I will always be getting money, always be getting. They don't think of the fact that okay, businesses experience loss. If a business experience loss, doesn't mean that is the end of the business. The investment means to be invested in that thing, to be to be part of that thing. A lot of people just dump money and go away, and then they say they are investors. Those you're not an investor, you're just playing. You're just playing. So if you want to be an investor, you have to think long term. For yourself, what is your goal? What is your business achieve? Okay, and then you consider the business you want to invest in. Okay, like this farm, what are they what kind of food they produce? What kind of process? That's their process. But if they if like somebody I spoke with one time, and she was like, I only get people who do organic farm. And I was like, okay, me, I do but for this project, I cannot base on organic fertilizer. I want to involve inorganic fertilizer. I want to manage it. I know how to manage the two of them to get the best result. But the person was like, I only want organic farming, and it's fine. That's that person. The person who is clear on their purpose. You know what you want, so that you know what you're investing your money on. So if you as a farmer too, if you're, you're looking for people to invest in your farm, not everybody who comes that you will jump on the opportunity and say, this person has brought money, therefore me and him will do business. What is the person? Ask the person. Be clear on the person's intentions. What are the intentions? Some people just want to coin investment in the word invest. I've some people come to meet me and say, we want to partner with you. What's the terms of the partnership? They basically want you to come and work for them, and then they control everything. You have to understand what is your business goal. What is your business goal, and then understand your business goal basically, so that you know what you're investing in, and you know persons you are trying to get get them to invest on your business for, and the kind of businesses you want to invest your time in. So that is just it.
Fantastic.
Okay, my courses, like how do people get my courses? For now, you have to join my courses are hold on WhatsApp. My courses hold on WhatsApp for now. But we are working out. We are trying to work out modalities to get them on Seller end of this quarter. Get the courses on Seller. So you have to reach out to me directly so that you join the course. I'll put you on the groups for the courses. So we're trying to, like we learn every day. New. For now, you have to reach out to me on WhatsApp, or reach out to my business on on Facebook at Juno Farms Limited on Facebook. Get to our page, messages there, we'll get the quotes to you. You can also reach on Farms Limited as well. Just message us on Instagram, we'll get the quotes across to you as well.
All right. That will be all for today. I'm not certain if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I still can hear you. I'm not hearing you.
Wow.